So it's October 22nd, and here are the three big stories that you ought to be paying attention to. So the first one is an ongoing saga. Avdiivka, the Russians keep coming at it, throwing stuff at it. 50 vehicles destroyed in the last day or so. When I say vehicles, I mean tanks. 50 tanks destroyed in the last day or so. Now, then after that, they're going into the same territory with armored trucks, not tanks, which is even less protection. And so why would they keep doing that? Well, there's a simple explanation, and I'm not sure that it's provable yet. I've read in other places that part of this is because Putin really wants to have the borders of the oblast that he, particularly with Donetsk, the oblast, he wants to get all the way to the borders by the end of the year. It's part of his strategy to get reelected, I guess, and prove that he's done something useful. So that's story number one. Story number two, the Ukrainians are absolutely moving toward integration with the European Union. And part of this now is that they've actually completed one piece, which was on bribery of PEPs. These are people who are more likely, or politically exposed persons, more likely to be the kind of people that would be bribed, and the legislation has been shorn up. That's a really good thing. That's the kind of thing that you want. You don't want anybody to be taking bribes, and they're working headlong toward that. So that's a good thing. That's story number two, and that was just today. Story number three, we're looking at Israel and Ukraine simultaneously and saying, hey, look, can we really support both wars at the same time? Well, it looks like to some degree we can. And there's only a few places where there's overlapping munitions that are competing with each other. So I was reading an article about that this morning where standard artillery shells, that's one of the places where there is some competition. So artillery shells, like the U.S. has supplied, I think it was 2 million rounds of standard artillery munitions to Ukraine since the war began. And they're actually drawing it down from a stockpile in Israel. But some of that is going to be diverted to Israel. Now, that's one of the few places where there's competition between the two. Another place is with Stinger missiles, and we've supplied 2,000 Stinger missiles to Ukraine so far. But that's something that Israel may also need. Another one is small diameter bombs, and the reason, again, it's that these three kinds of munitions are useful in both places. But for the most part, the kind of war that Israel is going to be fighting and the kind of war that Ukraine will be fighting will be two very different things. And so there won't be a lot of overlap. So that's a good thing. All right, my 3 minutes is up. Thank you for your time, and thank you for listening to this. Thank you for being the kind of person that cares about Ukraine.